Hey, welcome to the Leadership Lifter, where we're lifting the lids of leaders in the local church. I'm excited about today's topic because leadership is not just about doing, it's also about right thinking. Today, we're going to talk about the 4 myths of leadership. Let's get into it. There are some things that we are susceptible to. So if you will, do me a favor and take out your phone, your notes, your pen, your paper. Take some notes with me in this session. I really would like to talk to you guys today about the 4 myths about leadership. 4 myths about leadership, okay? Some fallacies that we can believe. A lot of leadership has to do with, and when you talk about leadership, you learn about leadership, and a lot of it has to do with the how-to, which is important, the how-to. But leadership is actually about beliefs and behaviors. It's about what you're thinking and what you're doing. So if you're not actually thinking right and you're just trying to do the right things, eventually your thoughts will undermine you. Okay, eventually you will. It's both of those things. We have to have the right beliefs and the right behaviors. We have to have the right thoughts and the right actions combined together. That makes a healthy, effective leader. Today, I don't necessarily want to focus maybe some of the how-to, but primarily some of those beliefs, the thoughts, the myths that can undermine your leadership, especially for a ministry, a church, or any organization that's seeing some grace or favor and effectiveness in the season that they're in. So 4 myths about leadership. Number 1 is the success myth. The success myth. Now, every one of these myths, let me just say, they're great things. I mean, it's what God wants. God wants you to have these things. They're not inherently wrong, but they come with certain fallacies, some beliefs. If you don't think right about it, it can eventually undermine you. So there is a success myth. The greatest enemy of today's success is yesterday's success. Yesterday's success gives you this false sense of security. What got you here won't keep you here. What got us here, Discovery Church, won't keep us here. If you're still living on the success of last season, like, oh man, this is the best. Oh my gosh, we're at the top. This was fantastic. Let's camp out right here. This is who we are. Look at what we did. Look at what God did. Life is not a snapshot. We want to take a picture of a moment and put it in a frame, but everything changes. Everything moves constantly. What you did 5 years ago, if what you did 5 years ago still satisfies you, you're not doing anything worthwhile still today. I look at things I did 5 years ago, and I want to apologize to people. I'm like, I want to send an email like, I'm so sorry, I put that on you, forgive me. Like, it's terrible. A sign of growth in your life is when what you did yesterday no longer thrills you. It no longer excites you. Not because you're bored, but because you're growing. And that's the goal. See, the success myth is really countered by a growth goal, not a success goal. Okay? Growth, that's the goal. If success is your goal, you're going to think that there's a place that you arrive at. I've succeeded. I hit the mark. I have arrived. Success is not the goal. Growth is the goal. When growth is your goal, you will never stop. You'll never arrive. There's always more to learn. There's always more to unlearn. There's always a next level. Growth is always the goal, not success. Don't fall for the success myth, because what got you here won't get you there. Okay? The second myth is the failure myth. Kind of the opposite side of that success myth. We got to be able to think appropriately about failure, though. For some people, failure is a mistake of any kind. For other people, failure is missing a set goal. And others, failure is a constant state of being. Like you constantly feel like you're not enough and you're constantly thinking of yourself in that way as a failure. But for leaders, listen to me, leaders, failure is different. When you're a leader, failure is your friend. In leadership, it's not a question if you fail. The question is when you fail. And then what you do afterwards, your response to the failure. No successful person becomes a success without failure. It's impossible. There's no such thing as life without setbacks, without mess-ups, without even face plants, you guys. There's just no such thing. Success is a road of an uphill battle, and it's inevitable that somewhere along the way, your foot is going to slip. The ground beneath you is going to shift. You're going to take a misstep or a pivot, and you are going to fall. So how do you make sure, though, that failure is your friend, that you don't fall into this failure myth? It's like any other friendship. You develop the relationship over time with intentionality. Here's a few ways that you need to get over the failure myth. Number one, get comfortable with failure. I grew up on the opposite end of the spectrum there. I didn't want to fail. I feared failure. I had to learn how to accept failure as part of the process. You got to get comfortable with failure as part of the process. Number two, you got to get clear about failure. Get clear about it, like get the right mindset. I love what Paul Martinelli, he wrote a book called The Cycle of Success. He says that failure is an essential part of the cycle of success. Here's the cycle of success, according to Paul Martinelli. Test, fail, learn, improve, re-enter. I love that cycle. I'm going to give it to you again. Test, fail, learn, improve, and then re-enter to try it again. In his book, failure is the second step to success. That's a clear picture of how I see failure. You got to get the right picture. Failure is actually a step of the process, the cycle of success. It's a part of my success. Instead of feeling like you missed it, like you are a failure, you have to think clearly. Failure is a part of the process. If you are a leader, failure is your friend. It means that you are getting on the road towards success. You are closer towards success. Don't fall for this myth of failure. Here's the third thing, though. You need to get prepared for failure. Prepared for failure. Failure is inevitable, so preparing yourself for that response is essential. I love the cycle of success because it tells you that the response to failure is to learn. To learn. So what do you learn from the failure? You make preparations to learn from it. Don't just let the failure go unlearned. And don't learn it alone. You learn it with other people around you. Get some other people and invite them into the project. Invite them into what you're learning, and you guys learn together. There's the success myth, the failure myth, and number three, the momentum myth. The momentum myth. Now, this is great. Look, God wants you to succeed. I believe He wants you to be successful in leading people to love God, love each other, and change the world. He wants to use that failure even in your life to mature you, to develop you, to grow you, to help get you towards success. Momentum is also a good thing, but there's myths about momentum. Momentum in an organization, in a ministry, can make you feel like you're better than you really are. Momentum in the church or in your ministry, it can make you feel like you're healthier than you really are. Momentum is a powerful thing. I mean, it solves 80% of your problems. You need to go create some momentum because everything is easier with momentum. However, there are some myths when momentum is happening. Two unhealthy things. First, it can give you a false sense of security. Momentum can give you a false sense of security because everything is easier with it. It can disguise things. See, don't confuse a tailwind with momentum. See, you may be having like momentum growth in your ministry or your team, but it might be because you're just picking up the draft of someone else's effort. Did you guys catch that? Okay. All right. So are you creating momentum? Are you generating momentum? Or are you just getting the tailwind of somebody else's momentum? It gives you this false sense of security. It also can give you a false sense of identity. I think that I'm the creator of momentum. That I did this. I generated. Any leader that believes they are the source of momentum rather than the team around them, they put a bottleneck on their team. They put a bottleneck on the organization. Okay? Momentum is not the effort of one person. Never the effort of one person. And if you fail, this is just a myth that you can believe about momentum that will undermine you. It'll bottleneck you, you guys. The momentum myth, the success myth, the failure myth. The last one I'll give you, the fourth myth, is the systems myth. the systems myth. Systems are important. They're actually extremely vital. But systems don't drive vision. They serve the vision. Okay? So systems are vital. I think it was James Clear who said, you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Okay, so you can have lofty goals and big dreams, but if your systems don't support it, you're not going to rise to the level of that goal. You're going to fall to the level of your systems. You can have a goal to lose, 50 pounds, but if your system is still waking up late and eating everything you want, you don't have the right systems in place to lose it, then you are not going to rise to the level of your goal. You're going to fall to the level of your system. Okay, so systems are extremely important. But we can become, here's the myth, we become systems managers rather than people developers. So you got a system for service planning. You plan the services, and this is what you put into the planning of the services. Very important to have the system. But if you don't recognize the souls that are involved in the system or the impact that system is creating an environment or an experience or an encounter, and you are just putting in, you can do everything. You can run the system perfectly and fail to lead people effectively. You got a system for scheduling. You schedule it. You do all the scheduling systems. You follow the scheduling system. You can follow the scheduling system perfectly and fail to lead people effectively. Why? Because systems don't drive vision. They serve the vision. They support the vision. All the systems that we have, they should help us serve people more, better. They should help us develop people better. But you fall into this myth where we think if I can just perfect the system, if I can just get the system down, and you shift away from people-oriented to systems-oriented. Again, healthy systems are important, but systems serve vision. They don't create vision or drive vision. These are myths that every one of us are prone to, especially when you have favor, momentum, and success that you got to be on the lookout for. Don't fall for the myths.